Hello, easy peasy breezy. While we're waiting for people to turn up, I'd love to know where you're from and how old your kids are. I'm here in Vancouver, Canada. My kids are 33, 28, and I've got a grandchild on the way, little girl, first grandchild. So that's where I'm at. I'm all done with all this stuff. That's why I'm teaching it. Okay, so where are you from and how old are your kids? I'm also filming on YouTube at the same time. YouTube is where I save all of these lives. So yeah, they just kind of disappear on TikTok and Instagram, but I save them and I don't share them on Instagram. Okay, so where are you from and how old are your kids? I might not do this introduction the same way in future because what I'm doing from now on, I've decided, is because I'm really growing on Instagram right now. So I am going to, and I get about the same number of people in the live. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 30 minutes on TikTok and then I'm going to move over to Instagram. So if you want to join me after I'm finished here, I'll be on Instagram for 30 minutes. So 30 minutes on each platform. I'll just get going now because of that. I'm usually on here for a whole hour, but I'm splitting it now between Instagram and TikTok. YouTube is just going to be the full hour. That's enough about that. Geez. Anyway, so I'm Lisa. I'm a parenting coach. If you go in the link above, you can get my free behavior board, one of my toddler courses, my big boot camp course for 3 to 12-year-olds, or you can hire me for coaching. That's where all the teen stuff happens. I haven't got a course on teenagers yet. Okay, I'm in Victoria in Connecticut. My child is 3 and she doesn't listen. Okay, check out the boot camp course. She's not listening because she doesn't respect you. So you got to work on your leadership. When you're a leader, they just follow you. They do whatever you say because they want to please you. That's a natural instinct. A leader to me isn't an authority figure. A leader to me is someone who brings out the best in kids. This is how I teach this. It's all about building them up so they like themselves, they feel good about themselves, they have pride, they have high self-esteem. I wrote this out earlier. It was such a good point, the way it was worded. It was Tony Robbins. He comes up with some really good stuff. He said, self-esteem doesn't come from others. It comes from within. A lot of parents make the mistake of continually telling their kids how wonderful they are, thinking it's going to build them up, but then they'll still allow them to kick them and be, disrespectful. Kids know their self-esteem. Their self-esteem is just in the toilet if they have nothing to be proud of. You've got to give them something to be proud of. So their behavior is something they can be proud of. You want to encourage your children and guide them into making good choices. You don't tell them how great they are. I mean, you do, but that's not how you increase their self-esteem. You increase their self-esteem by setting yourself up as a leader. Oh, God, it feels so good to not be coughing. I haven't coughed once yet, have I? Jesus, cold's hung on for ages. I hated it. I'm not complaining. It was just a cold. I'm not complaining, but I hate it because I do so much talking in my business that it was really challenging. I'm from Sweden again. Hi, Sweden. 12, 2.5, and 9 months old. Or you got 2 toddlers, but you got a 12-year-old who can help out. There was I don't know if it was an interview or something talking about how much should you expect from older kids helping with younger kids. It was a bit of a survey kind of thing. And I said, yeah, that builds empathy and responsibility, but there's a line that you don't want to cross. You never want to take away from the older kids' social lives and stunt them socially. That's certainly not something I would do. And they also need some free time just to do nothing. Okay, so parenting questions. Calgary, 15 months and due in February. Were you here yesterday? Maybe it was someone else. I thought maybe it wasn't Calgary. That was Alberta anyway. Okay. So parenting questions, I'll just wait here. And I've already explained this, but I know people are coming in that. So I'm splitting this in 2 from now on because I've got a pretty big following on Instagram now. So I'm going to be splitting the lives in 2. The first half hour this time is TikTok. The second half hour is Instagram. So it's the same name, Bratbusters Parenting. If you want to follow me over there, that's where I'll be. And I'm always on YouTube. Like YouTube is, I haven't really started growing on there. I haven't really worked on YouTube yet. But my lives are all on YouTube. They're all saved there. So the full hour will be on YouTube. That's enough of that. My toddler is addicted to the passy. The pacifier. Yeah, the dummy, I used to call it, or the soother, whatever. What I did with my son, he was 18 months old, and I didn't even want him on there that long, on the pacifier for that long, but we were doing a big trip. We lived in Australia. We were doing a big trip to Canada to see my family. There was no way I was going to do that huge 24-hour long haul trip with an 18-month-old without a dummy. So I kept it for that long. And just a sec. As soon as we got home, it was the day after we got home, and I thought, that's it. I'm going to take the dummies away. So, and we had jet lag and everything, but I thought, I'm just going to do it. So anyway, I had my 18-month-old help me, and we put all the dummies in a little Ziploc bag. Then I had him carry them, and I carried him. We went out to the garage. The big wheelie bin was out there, and I said, okay, you're a big boy now. No more dummies. And I said, put them in there, and he did. Now, I also had a little bit of history with him, in that he kind of knew. He was only 18 months old, but he kind of understood mom was in charge. When mom says something, it's going to happen. Dad, not so much. So there's no way I would have had dad do that. That was mom's thing. So I always used to say to my ex-husband, I used to say to him, never discipline the kids. Just say, do you want me to tell mom? Because I didn't want him messing them up. I knew what I was doing. I was a leader. He was a good dad. He just wasn't, he just didn't discipline. He didn't have all the experience I had with kids. Anyway, so I thought, oh my God, I'm in for hell for the next week at least, with this 18-month-old who was absolutely addicted to his dummy. He had it morning, noon, and night. He always had it in his mouth. And I thought, I have just set myself up for hell. But I never afraid of that. I just follow through and do the right thing. So I thought, oh, it's just going to be a nightmare, and jet lag and tantrums constantly. He never asked for one once. Now, that was very unusual for him. But what he would do was he'd look over, he'd go like this, and then he'd look over at me, and I would look away instantly. There was no way I was going to get eye contact when he was looking for a dummy. He never asked for one once. I think he just kind of accepted the fact that they were in the big wheelie bin, and he knew when something went in there, it never came out again. So if it was in the kitchen garbage or the bathroom garbage, he might have thought he had a chance. But I don't know. Is that going to work for you? Probably not. I think that was a 1 in a million thing with my son. He wasn't that easy. I was shocked that worked, but it worked. And that's still what I recommend you do. Just like a Band-Aid, rip it off in one go. Don't stretch it out so we can have it sometimes and not others. That's the inconsistency path. You don't want to take that one. They don't understand. Why can I have it sometimes and not others? Okay, you got a 2-year-old who throws terrible tantrums and screams. Yeah, welcome to the club. There's a whole bunch of people, millions of people out there dealing with that. I actually have a tantrum course. Check out the link above, and it has toddler tantrum busting. I can't remember. Anyway, I have a course on that. It's one of my most popular courses. My most popular course is the potty training one. That's actually my favorite one too. Yeah, but anyway, tantrum course is very popular. So check that out. And I have tons of videos on tantrums. You ignore tantrums, by the way. You must be new here because it comes up all the time as tantrums. I don't always want to talk about them because it comes up so often that I kind of like to mix topics up. And I'm only on here for 30 minutes, and then I'm transferring over to Instagram and doing another 30-minute live on there. I'm splitting up my lives now because Instagram, I'm really growing on Instagram now. So I get about the same number of people on lives now. Instagram's weird. I've only got 70,000 followers on there, and I've got 570,000 followers on TikTok. But my Instagram views on my videos is like triple or quadruple the amount. And the lives are the same. I can't figure that out. Doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, stuff like that can drive me nuts because I can't make sense. If I can't make sense out of something, I get really feathery headed. I'm just like, it drives me nuts. Anyway, can't figure it out. Why am I even trying? I don't understand social media. I'm on it, but I don't understand it. Okay, my 2.5-year-old gets angry or upset when we get home from daycare and he hits his little brother. What to do? You're going to hate my answer. Sometimes that's how they say hello. There you are, bang. I'm not saying it's right, but yeah, you just want to check out and again, another course on toddlers who hit. He can't do that. He's just come home. He's probably overstimulated or maybe overtired, and he just hits. That's just how he says hello. Not a very nice hello. Could you imagine going up to friends? Bang. That's how I say hello. So yeah, check out the toddlers who hit. It's just a matter of saying no. And if he's going to do it every time, watch him. And when he goes to hit, you say no and you restrain him. Say no. And you just remove him or take something, you know what I mean? Whenever you're disciplining, it's under the age of 3, it's consistent corrective actions. It's not words. One word no is sufficient. And that even, I wouldn't even always bother with that. But anyway, that's just me. But they're not about words, they're about actions, consistent corrective actions. So it has to be something that you say no and then do an action to prevent him from hitting. Okay, you said I saw it a couple times, but his are nothing like I've ever seen. You mean tantrums? Oh, I'm sure I've seen them. Um, the longest tantrum I ever heard of. Now, this was a much older kid. He was about 5 or 6, and they went on for, I think it was 4 hours, to the point where he was vomiting, almost passing out. But this was a child that I was actually coaching the parents, and this child had been in charge for years, and he was fighting back. It got ugly, and the parents just hated me in the first few weeks of working with me because I said, you have to ignore that. You absolutely have to. And it worked. You eventually learned, oh, this ain't working anymore. So anyway, yeah. Excuse me. I love this. My toddler will literally scream and look to see if I'm looking. I just turn my head as per usual. That's a good one. Yeah, I call that the whatever response. Like whatever, if they're doing something you really hate and there's not much you can do about it, I just kind of give it whatever. Like, they kind of learn, hey, this ain't working. Children past the age of 3.5 to 4 only do what works. They just do. They're not stupid like I am. I keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. I'm a moron that way. I don't know why. I'm very habitual, and I like my routines. But yeah, I keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. Kids aren't that ignorant. They are very clever, actually. If something isn't working, they move on to something else. They'll try something else. But if it was working in the past, it's going to be harder to train them out of it. So once you've taught them this works, like you get attention for a tantrum, it's going to be worse the next time they have one when you ignore it, because they're going to remember the old you, but only temporarily. They'll eventually outgrow them. Someone said some snotty response to tantrums. I did a video, and I don't remember where it was, Instagram. It could have been anywhere. Anyway, and they said, well, the way you stop tantrums is this and that. And it was some person with some child development degree. And I'm thinking, you should throw that thing in the garbage. Anyway, you cannot stop tantrums. What you do is you manage them, and they will minimize in duration, frequency, and intensity. It takes time. You cannot physically stop a tantrum. The only way to do that is to give them exactly what they were tantruming over. Hey, I want to run in front of traffic. Okay, go ahead. That'll stop the tantrum. But that's the only, anyway. It's funny. I almost answered. I never answer that stuff, but I almost answered. You've got a child development degree and you think you can stop tantrums? They were reasoning with a 2-year-old. Good luck with that one. I never answer that stuff, but every so often I want to. I don't know why I love the negative comments so much, but I really do. My daughter just says, I don't know why you like them so much. I love them because it means I'm shaking things up. Yeah, it just does. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to shake things up because I know the trend right now is to reason with everything and validate all their feelings. You do not need to validate a tantrum. They're not feelings based. They're just, I didn't get my own way based. That's all they are. And why on earth would you want to validate that? Doesn't make any sense at all to me. Did the child pass on? What child? Okay. I don't really think putting her in the corner helps. Reasoning with my 3-year-old is not a part of my routine. Haha. I don't really think putting her in the corner helps. Yeah, I don't quite know. It's a whole bunch of sort of stuff going on there. But yeah, putting her in a corner, that's timeout. I hate timeout. I can't stand it. I think it's mean and it's humiliating. Can't stand timeout. So I've never done it. 2-year-old been hitting other kids at preschool. Any advice, please? Can't help you with that. You can't do deferred punishment with a 2-year-old. You can start to do it at 3. That's why the behavior board starts at 3. They have the ability to stop and think before they act. But when they're 2, not. That's up to the preschool to sort that out. But what are they like at home? Like, do you allow them, do you just give in to them and they get all their way at home? Or are they used to sort of being more managed at home too? So that makes a difference. But at 2, nothing you can do from a distance. Nothing. Not with a 2-year-old. You cannot defer punishment with a 2-year-old. They have to be right in the moment, consistent corrective actions. So that's on the preschool, unfortunately. Most preschools have experience with this. If they don't, they must be young. Well, now, let me see. Please talk about how to deal with the teenager and how to disappoint. What do you mean how to disappoint? I'll tell you my top teenagers are my favorite age. That's how I started my business. I did teen crisis work and also crisis work with any age, like abuse, every kind you can think of. That's how I started my business. And but teenagers are my absolute favorite age because when you know how to deal with a teenager, they're the most rewarding, the most fun, because they're more like equals. You can sort of, you're still the parent, but they're more, it's just, there's more interaction going on. I loved it. I loved watching my kids form, like grow up, turn into adults. I just found it just fascinating, just watching them form. Okay, my 3 top tips for parenting teenagers. And this is how you get, if you don't already have respect, there's a little bit different process. I don't have any courses on teenagers yet. It's all coaching. Okay, I won't get into that. Anyway, I won't get into that. Okay, 3 top tips for parenting teenagers. Number 1 is you listen to understand and show empathy. You do not listen to gather information to lecture with. They will shut you out. If they want your advice, they'll ask for it. By the way, they already know it. Okay, so you listen to understand, show empathy, and then stop talking. What this will do is they will end up telling you everything. You're going to be a safe place to land. You're going to be someone that they trust. It's part of leadership skills, being a really good listener. That's number 1. Number 2 is you negotiate pretty much everything. Hey, I want your dirty clothes in a hamper from now on. What do you want from me? You negotiate pretty much everything. They love that. It really works. But if you've got a really tragic relationship with your teenager, you got to hire me. We got to work on bigger stuff than just this. This is just general. Okay, number 3 is don't sweat the small stuff with teenagers. Save your energy for the big stuff. Allow them to make the small mistakes. If they do something stupid, you'd say, I would have said to my kids, well, that was stupid. Wait to hear what I did when I was your age. Like, we're all learning here, right? So it's don't sweat the small stuff. Let them make mistakes, just like you did. That's okay. We don't want kids to think they have to be perfect to be great. No, like I think making mistakes is part of it, as long as you learn from them. Sorry, I got my wheels all caught up here. Okay, that's my 3 top tips for parenting teenagers. I find it funny how good she is at school versus how at my house. Is this the teenager? Oh, no, that's not. Okay. Yeah, you got to work on your leadership skills, Megan. That's what it's all about. You got a lot of different subjects going on there. Work on your leadership skills. If she's 3 and over, then you can use my boot camp course. It sets you up as a leader. If she's 3 and over, start with my behavior board, though. And then if you like that, then you can go on to the boot camp course, or you can hire me. But yeah, she's in charge, is what I'm saying. If she's under 3, just keep watching. And I have some toddler courses too. Top tips for parenting a 9-year-old. Okay, there's 4 different stages of parenting, and it's not about you, it's about your kids' ages. I'm going to read those out. And then I'll explain the middle age. Where is that? Just a minute. Did I even write that down? Yeah, I must have. Just a sec. Oh, here it is. I've color-coded them so I can find them, and I can never find them. So, okay, the 4 stages of parenting. This is the different style of parenting you use with each age. The first stage is babies, 0 to 15 months. It's all nurturing, loving, picking them up when they cry, cuddling, and all that stuff, just bonding and making them feel safe. Then the second stage is toddlers, 16 to 35 months. You're still doing all the other stuff, but now you're starting to teach them right from wrong. You're more focused on that. And it's about consistent corrective actions. Under that age, it's a little bit more redirection and stuff, a little bit softer. Okay, so toddler. Then you go through the child phase, 3 to 12 years old. That's when you are in leadership mode. They want to please you. You're just full leadership mode. They need that. That is when they need that more than any other time, is they need a leader to guide them, because they're out of your hands. They're at school, they're at preschool. If you're a really good leader, they take your leadership umbrella everywhere they go. And they'll always think, what would mom think? What should I do? What would mom say if I was in this situation? So you're a really strong, calm leader, and they're going to tell you everything. So if you've got a 9-year-old, that's a tween. They're kind of heading into the tween years. Hormones might even be kicking in. So that's your full leadership mode. I have a boot camp course, teaches you how to set yourself up as a leader. They never disrespect a leader. Like, I don't remember my kids ever saying they hated me, why would they? My son was 15 and he could have been wilder. He wanted to rebel. He even said to me, he was 15. I was shocked when he said this. He says, I could never rebel because you're too reasonable and easy to talk to. Whew, sorry about that. So I said, fine, go clean your room. He never did. Rebellion taken care of. But yeah, they don't rebel against a leader. They just don't. They're not rude to a leader. Why would they be? If you have a coach that you just love and that makes you feel good about yourself and is really good and also has rules, right? You sit on the bench if you are rude or anything. So they know how to discipline you, but you want to please that person. Would you ever be rude or disrespectful to a coach that you look up to? That's what leadership's all about. You bring out the best in them. You make them like themselves. They're proud of themselves. Anyway, check out my behavior board. If you like that, then look at the boot camp course. The behavior board's free. So if you like the style of that, then check out the boot camp course. I'm all about rules and consequences for all. You have to be on that behavior board too. If you're not accountable, how can you teach your kids how to be accountable? Doesn't make any sense at all to me. My kids loved it when I messed up. They would look at each other like this. And I thought, oh crap, what did I do? I just messed up. Okay, so what do you want? They'd say, we'd love to go to the water slide park tomorrow after school. I'd say, fine, I'll bring your swimsuits. So anyway, leaders are accountable. And leaders never yell either. I never yelled. I was never yelled at either. My mom was a leader. Wasn't as strict as I was. She let more go than I would have, but she was a leader. I cared what she thought. My dad, he never saw the real me. He just thought it was perfect no matter what I did. But my mom saw it. She couldn't pull the wool over my mother's eyes. If I was trying to push my dad around behind my mom's back, I swear she could sniff it out. She would look over at me and I'd go, oh, never mind, Dad. So there's usually a leader and a pleaser between the parents. There's never an authority and a leader. The reason is the authority would quickly get on the leader's page very quickly because leaders are fun too. The authority isn't as much fun usually. They can be, but there's never an authority and a leader in a household. It's very rare. I've never seen it. There's usually an authority and a pleaser, or an authority and authority, or a leader and a leader, or a leader and a pleaser. But I've never seen an authority, the old-fashioned authority style, my way or the highway. I'm in charge here. Yeah, I don't do that. I'm a leader. Okay. I'm not sure how to discipline at this age. I don't know. The leadership program is not free, no. But the behavior board is. It gives you a taste of it. It's sort of the start of all this. It gives you a taste of what I do, my style. What did you say? You said, oh, shoot, I forgot. Okay. I'm going to be doing, someone asked about lying. I'm going to be doing another video on lying. Someone asked about that in a message or something. So I've done a lot of videos on lying, but I'll do another one. If you want to check out the boot camp course, I go into that in great detail in there. Have you ever worked with kids with ADHD? Those are all the kids I worked with. Do you think anyone, I've worked with hundreds of kids. Do you think anyone ever said to me, here's an easy one, Lisa? Not once, not ever. My kids were, I couldn't believe how easy they were. They didn't have challenges. I never worked with an easy kid. Not once, not ever. Why would I? You know, with the teenagers, oh, here's a really easy teenager. No, here's a violent, delinquent teenager. Thanks. Like those are all the kids I worked with. I used to call them alphabet kids. They all had ADHD, WXYZ, but I never opened up one single file. I treated the kid, not the diagnosis. I didn't want to know about their history and all that stuff. I just wanted to connect with them, make them like themselves in my presence. That gave me all my power. When they liked themselves when they were with me, that gave me all the power, all the leadership. That's how it works. If they like, you want to make your kids and other kids like themselves when they're with you. I should tell the pool story. It's a perfect example of that. If anyone's interested, I'm sure you've all heard it a million times, but if anyone wants to know the pool story, ask. Anyway, okay. Finding friends. Okay, so let's say you're having a hard time with your kids socializing. They just have a hard time making friends. What I would do is I do role playing. So when it comes to bullying or a lot of social stuff, I do role playing with them. So what you do is you pretend you're them, and then they pretend they're another kid, and you show how you talk to other kids and other people in general. Always ask people about themselves. I'm not big on the compliments. I think that can come across as a little bit pathetic. Oh, you look great today. I love your hair. And I'm not so much into that. But I would say something like, hey, what have you got for lunch? Or what PlayStation game are you playing with? Stuff like that. So do role playing. Teach them how to make friends. Do you think certain foods, red dyes and stuff affect their behavior? I'm not a doctor. I can't talk about that. So I have opinions, but I don't share opinions here. I share what I think is really valid advice. See, I'm not a doctor. I couldn't comment on that. My 3-year-old stepdaughter has an eye roll, head bob, talk like a teenager roll right now. Okay. Oh, you're going to hate my answer. Should I even answer this? This is from T. I'm going to read it out. How do I make my toddler appreciate me more? I know he's little, but he'd rather be with his mom and GP. So you're the dad. The word appreciate's throwing me off. That's a very self-serving word to use. It's not about you, it's about them. If you're fun and they have fun with you, they will want to be with you. That was always my weapon with kids. I was fun. I was funny with teenagers. And I was fun with little kids. I was fun. That was my weapon. They always wanted to be around me because I was fun. So work on your fun skills. Look up how to play with little kids, how to play with toddlers, toddler activities. I used to do a lot of magic tricks. I'll show you something I used to do with kids. This is embarrassing. A lot of stuff that I talk about in coaching, it's too embarrassing to talk about here, but I get to know my clients and we get a relationship going. So I tell them a lot of weird stuff. I used to tell kids that I had been a spy in my past life. But when I had kids, I told the whole world I was a top level spy, right? And I told the whole world that I can't do it anymore. I can't help you out. And because I've got kids and I just want to stay at home. Well, I was so valuable that they needed my information, even if I couldn't go into work anymore and travel around the road with my spy work. Anyway, so what they had done was they planted a chip in my head so they could still ask me questions, and I answered with Morse code tapping my temple. That's what I used to tell kids. And I said, every so often they ask. Anyway, every so often they come to me for advice. I had this scam going for years with hundreds of different kids, my own kids. Kids want to be around you when you're goofy and fun. They love that stuff. Another one I used to, oh, never mind, I got a million of them. It's too embarrassing. But that was one of my best tricks when I was working with kids, was they were just transfixed by this. And of course, I'd get the moms asking me, what are you doing? I said, well, Santa Claus, spy, it's all fun, right? But it just pulls kids in, and they want to please you. They just do. When you're fun, kids want to please you. They want to be with you. They want the fun to continue. You think I would have been doing that if a kid was acting out? No freaking way. If they act out, I get real boring real fast. Anyway, fun was I used to call it my weapon of choice with kids. Humor, fun. Yeah, you don't expect kids to appreciate you. If they want to be with you, there's a difference. Pardon me. I'm going to be going soon because I'm going to be splitting these lives. I'm getting a really big following on Instagram right now. So what I'm doing is it's kind of hard to go back and forth. But what I decided to do, instead of doing an hour, I'm doing the whole hour on YouTube, these lives, these daily lives, but then I'm splitting them in half. So when I leave TikTok here, I'll be going over to Instagram and doing another 30 minutes over there. It's working out really well. Okay. Is it advisable to share with your teenager how much you're making if they asked? It depends on the relationship you have. Yeah, I think my kids knew what was going on financially. But if you're struggling, I wouldn't tell them. Or I'd say, things aren't that easy. But if it's something that you're comfortable telling, if you can trust them not to tell other people, I wouldn't want anyone else to know that. But yeah, I think my kids pretty much knew what was going on. I told them, we shared a lot. Okay, I need to have a coaching session with you because I need help. My son is super smart to the point. He outsmarts me. Kids are always going to outsmart us past the age of, I'd say, about 13, 15, around there, because their brains are just at their peak, right? I'm 63. I think half my brain's dead by now. If you go in there, you'll probably see it all jelly. But yeah, they're very smart. They just haven't got the wisdom or the experience yet. But yeah. Want kids to appreciate you, give them something to appreciate you for. Want kids to respect you, be respectable. Oh, good one. Yeah, that sort of sounds to me like you're demanding it rather than commanding it. Like I've never said to a kid, "You respect me." That's ridiculous. I work for that. I earn it. I work for it. Do you know if a kid's ever been rude to me or anything when I'm working with them, especially the troubled teens? And if they ever did anything when I first started working with them, they didn't know me yet, and they do something, this is what I would do. Not once did I ever blame the kid, not once, not ever. If they were rude and said something horrible, I won't go into it. You can just imagine what teenagers say. I've heard it all. Nothing can shock me. I've heard it all. Anyway, then I always think, what am I doing wrong? It's like my lead. I always look in the mirror. Never blame the kids. We're not fixing kids. We're fixing and teaching you. You lead, they will follow. You lead, they will respect. So I always thought, what am I missing here? What am I doing wrong? So always look to myself. Obviously, I wasn't commanding respect. That's my fault, not theirs. It's all on you. If your kids are acting out, their behavior is 100% a direct result of your parenting. 100%. I even took it a step further. Kids I was mentoring, troubled teens I was mentoring, was it because of me? No, they weren't acting up because of me, but I still took it on myself. As a leader, you do that. You take full responsibility for what kids are doing with you when they're under your charge. How they treat you is my job. That's my job, to command respect and mutual respect. It has to be mutual. It's my job. That's what you do. As a leader, that's your job. Oops, okay, it's been 30 minutes. I'm moving over to Instagram now. If you want to follow me over there, it's Bratbusters Parenting. Thanks so much for following. Go in the link above, and you can get my behavior board. It's free. My mini toddler courses, my big boot camp course for 3 to 12-year-olds, or coaching. That's the next level up. Coaching one-on-one with me. It's all done on Zoom, so it doesn't matter where you live. Anyway, thanks so much for following. I am still on YouTube, but I'll be moving over from TikTok to Instagram now. Thanks very much. Bye now. Hi, YouTube. I'm just moving over. Oh, I'm live. Okay. Hello. I'm wondering if you could tell me if you just came over from TikTok, because I'm doing my lives, I'm splitting them in two now. I'm doing 30 minutes on TikTok, and then I'm moving over to Instagram for 30 minutes. I might always do it that way. I always might always do TikTok, then Instagram. So are you coming over from TikTok, or are you just coming from Instagram? Because I just did 30 minutes from TikTok. Oh, hi. Okay. I was curious. I did. So 2 of you came over from TikTok. Interesting. Okay. I'm quite new on Instagram, so I'm just learning how to do that. Okay, so let's just get going here. If you go to the link above, you can download my free behavior board, buy one of my mini toddler courses, buy my big boot camp course, or hire me for coaching if you're interested. Okay, you're from Instagram. Okay, so yeah, I'm just new on Instagram. I'm just figuring it all out. But what I'm doing now is I'm splitting my lives in 2. I'm doing 30 minutes on TikTok and then 30 minutes on Instagram. Okay, so let's get going now. Your parenting. Could you be my next door neighbor, please? I don't know where you live. I'm in Vancouver. Where are you? Okay, so let's get going with your parenting questions, and I'll do the best I can to answer those. And my cough is getting better, finally. Geez. Okay, 3-year-old won't sleep in her bed at night. It's a whole process. I call it bedtime battles. It's 2 parts: how to get them to bed and how to keep them in bed. Keeping them in bed is by far the most challenging one, because you're tired. It goes on for hours sometimes. I have a bedtime battles course. Check in the link in the bio. It's brand new. It just came out about 3 weeks ago now. Bedtime battles course, if you're interested. It's for 2 to 8-year-olds. Will raising a child without a father figure become an issue? I don't know how to answer that, because we don't really know. Like, you can take 10 kids and they'd all come out different no matter what was going on. I believe that having one really good leader is all that really matters, because they can have like male figures as teachers, as coaches, so that just because maybe they don't live with one. I was divorced. My kids were 9 and 14. Their dad was still in the picture though, but it was just living with mom all the time. But I was the leader anyway, so that's sort of the one who sort of raises the kids mostly. He's a great dad, but I was always the leader. But yeah, nobody really can answer that. That's not an answerable question. I know people think they can, but how could you possibly answer that? A lot of kids turn out really difficult, and they've had 2 parents in the household. So, yeah. 2-year-old to sleep in her bed. Again, check out the bedtime battles course. It's a process. That's why I'm not really comfortable just answering it on live, because it's a big process. How you get them to bed and how you keep them there. It's 2 parts. I'm in Vancouver, Canada. There's a Vancouver, Washington. If you're from different parts of the world, there's 2 Vancouvers. One's, it's not a small city, but it's not as well known as Vancouver, Canada. And the Vancouver in the United States is just in the next state down. It's in the first state. So it's very nearby. Actually, they're very close. What are some appropriate consequences for not listening when spoken to? You don't put that down. That's in the attitude department. You never put down rule, you have to listen to me. That's like saying be good. It's too general, it's too broad, it's too big of an expectation. So you don't put that down. They will listen once you're a leader and you work on your leadership skills by using that behavior board. You can get the boot camp course if you're interested, but just check out the behavior board first. It teaches you how to start doing this. Do not put no, they will listen once you're a leader. You're working on your leadership skills here. We're not fixing kids, we're teaching and fixing parents here. We're teaching you how to be a leader. Once you're a leader, they listen. It's not a one-off. You can't, oh, here's how you make them listen. No, you become a leader and they will. So that's all I teach is how you become a leader. That's it. It's all I teach here. We're never fixing kids. We're teaching you how to be a leader. What about the kid when being naughty and you address it and they shut down and just stare at you? I don't know. Are they 2 or 12? I don't know the age. It really helps if you put the age. My 19, oh, you've already answered your own question. My 19-year-old screams until he gets what he wants. Now, is that 19-month-old, 19-month-old, 19-year-old? It has to be 19-month-old. And you've already answered your question. He screams until he gets what he wants. So he gets what he wants by screaming. He's going to keep that up till he is 19. If that works, he's going to keep doing it. You don't reward that. So he screams until he gets what he wants. Yeah. They wouldn't get what they wanted if they screamed with me. They just learn. Okay. Okay. This is a bedtime thing, I'm assuming. Husband has to lay by the door. She will stay in there, only comes in the middle of the night. Check out the Bedtime Battles course. I wouldn't do that. Okay. Well, I can't answer this, but I'm going to read it out and I'll tell you why I can't answer. I'm going to travel for 2 weeks with the wife, 2 kids, and 2 kids, 3 and 1. How do I prepare them for that? I don't know what kind of parent you are. I don't know how you could personally prepare for that. As a leader, you can't really prepare for a trip. Like, it's such an unusual situation. But if you're a leader, everything kind of falls into place. It just does, no matter where you go. I was a leader no matter where we were. So everything just kind of falls into place. But I don't know what kind of parent you are. Like, I'd work on my leadership skills before I go away so that everything's kind of easy. That's the thing is, when you're a leader, getting the respect, becoming a leader is hard work. You got to earn that. I worked for that. I earned it. It doesn't just come like that. They don't come out of the womb and hand you respect. You got to earn that. So I worked for that. Getting it is hard work. Maintaining it's a piece of cake. That's why I sailed right through the teen years. It's the maintenance is easy. Getting it is hard work. You got to earn this. You got to work for it. Oh, sorry. I'm used to TikTok and the questions scroll by themselves. And on Instagram, I keep forgetting I have to do that. So that's why I'm not caught up with the. I don't know what you meant by that. 4-year-old with the staring when we address naughtiness. Oh, okay. So that you came over from TikTok, right? Anyway, someone said that when they're laying down the law, I guess is the way you want to put it, when you're disciplining, they just stare at you. Well, use the behavior board. There's a consequence. There's actions you can take. They're staring at you because, well, I don't know why they're staring at you, but you're obviously not using the behavior board because there's actions happen on there. So check out the behavior board. It's completely free. So check that out. If you like that, then you might want to go to the boot camp course. It's just, anyway. But yeah, I don't quite know why they're staring. There's different reasons. You might not be making any sense. They might be waiting you out. It might be snotty. Is it that kind of staring? Well, use the behavior board. That'll solve that. Like, I could care less how kids react to me. If I'm laying down the law, their reaction means nothing to me. It's my actions that mean everything. I lead. They will eventually follow. They'll learn. You just got to work on your leadership skills and they will follow. Children naturally, instinctively need, crave, and want a leader. They just do. When they find one, the most difficult kids that I was handed, that I was asked to work with, were the quickest ones for me to get respect with. Why would that be? The most feisty, snotty, snarly, difficult kids that I was asked to work with were the quickest ones for me to get respect from. Why would that be? because those are the ones who are so desperate for leadership and they don't have it. When they come up against a calm leader, they literally go like this. Whew. It's like, finally, children need, crave, and want a leader. If you don't provide that leadership for them, they're going to be very vulnerable and susceptible out there in the world because they're going to look for it elsewhere. They're going to be susceptible to peer pressure, bullying, the drug dealer on the corner, the internet, the Kardashians. They're going to go searching out a leader somewhere else. You want to make sure that's you. It'll pay off right through the teen years. Okay. Should I communicate to babysitting grandparents that we don't agree with timeout corner time? That's a tough one for me to answer, and I'll tell you why. I got a grandchild coming along, and I'll never tell my kids how to parent. I know I won't because I never tell them what to do anyway. Never really did. So it's none of my business how they parent. But here's the way I view it. If they ask me to babysit, grandma's rules. Whatever works for me, I'm going to do. But if you really feel strongly that you don't want that, then you can communicate that to them. Just say, hey, would you mind? We're not doing this, But I don't like, if I was asking someone to babysit my kids, I probably wouldn't tell them how to do it. If you trust that person enough to babysit, don't tell them how to do it. Let them do it however they want, unless they want your help. So yeah, I doubt very much my kids would tell me anything. They might, they'll have their own style. It's none of my business how they parent. I'm not a Budinsky type mother at all or grandmother. That's just not my style. So, but yeah, they might have certain things that, we want our kids, certainly bedtime is something, like that. But yeah, if you're asking someone to babysit, trust them to do it however they do it. That's my gut reaction. Tips for co-parenting with manipulative narcissists. I know it's a real common term now to call everyone you don't like a narcissist. I'm 63 years old. I've only met one true narcissist in my whole life. In 63 years, I've met thousands of people in my whole life. And I've only met one, a real true narcissist. Very hard to spot. The only reason I know that this person was a narcissist is because I know some of the behind the scenes stuff. No, it wasn't my ex-husband. Someone asked that once. No, it wasn't him. Anyway, but yeah, it's a very rare thing to do. Manipulative isn't, but narcissist. Be very careful when you throw that word out. It's overused. And what I suggest you do is do what we did, my ex-husband and I. We always put our kids first. Nothing was a problem. It's 20 years ago, and we still spend Christmases together. Never had a problem. But he's not my ex. I don't even look at him that way. I can't even imagine that. But yeah, he's just the father of my kids. How could you hate someone that loves your kids? So yeah, we always co-parented beautifully. No problem. We went everywhere together, went to all the occasions together for our kids. So yeah, put your kids first. That's my best advice. Work on your leadership skills. If they don't have them, then just work on yourself. You take the high road. Whether or not someone else takes the low road wouldn't change my high road. I would still take the high road. So yeah, you take the high road, work on your leadership skills, work on your parenting skills, and the other person, they can do what they want. You can't tell them what to do. Okay, 19-month-old hitting. How to address it in staying calm? Well, yeah, you always stay calm. I talk about leadership. It's calm leadership. I used to always call it calm leadership, but really, when you're not disciplining, I was crazy and loud. So leadership isn't just discipline, it's also fun. Anyway, so yeah, you're always calm. But I do have a Toddlers Who Hit course. If you want to check that out in the link above, it just goes through it in detail how you manage toddlers who hit. But it's consistent corrective action if they're under the age of 3. You say no, and then you remove the toy if they hit with that. You remove them from the other person, or you remove the other person from them. It has to be fast, though. They're right in the moment. And no discussions. These mini therapy sessions that are so trendy right now with the pleaser parent styles, no, they're garbage. They were invented for the mom. They're just feeding the mom's needs. They have nothing to do with the toddler. Nothing. I saw that coming 30 years ago. You know where it started? And I thought, oh, God, we're in for it. Going to raise self-entitled snowflakes with mental health issues and a massive drug problem. That's what I thought 30 years ago. Here we are. Anyway, because there's no leadership with parenting anymore. So anyway, what was I going to say about that? Sugar, I forgot. Never mind. Oh, the mini therapy sessions. Where the pleaser parent style started was the participation awards. Is that the dumbest thing you ever heard of in your whole life? You just turn up and you get an award. Ooh, ooh, I get on the bus, I get an award. Ooh, I go to the supermarket, I get an award. You just turn up, you don't have to earn anything. Boy, what a big mistake. Oh, that was the stupidest thing. I couldn't believe it. First time I ever heard of participation awards. Couldn't believe my ears. I thought, oh, what idiot ever came up with that? And here we are. Okay, just subscribe to the behavior board. Follow it through. People keep telling me I didn't get the behavior board. Then I look into it. They haven't actually subscribed. You got to keep hitting. You got to hit the subscribe and put your email in, and then you'll get it. It's an attachment at the bottom of the email that you'll get. Yeah, this is tricky. She never had a pacifier, and she turned out to be a thumb sucker, and now she won't stop. That's a tricky one. I don't really know. Excuse me. I don't really know because you can't take the thumb away. The only thing you can do is replace it with something else. Get some of those crazy straws or whatever is safe that depending on the age, and try and say every time they do that, say no here, and you give them something else. It is hard work. You got to be on top of that, and it is hard work. It's going to take time. No guarantees with that one. My ex-husband had a friend. I remember his name. I won't say it, but anyway, he had a friend who sucked his thumb till he was like 10 years old. And not out in the public, but I guess he slept like that. I don't know. He has no thumbprints left. And he's like, he would be in his 60s now. No thumbprints. Isn't that funny? So I guess if you think you're going to lead a life of crime, you just suck your thumb for 10 years. Or you know what I mean? Like, no thumbprint. I've never even heard of that before. So that's a tough one. Oh, wish that was my mom's perspective. My mom acts like my kids are hers. Yeah, grandparenting, it's to each his own. But I've never really told my kids what to do, and I'll never tell my kids how to parent. It's just not my style. If they ask my advice, I'll be very careful how I hand it out because I don't want to make them feel bad. If you're telling your kids how to parent, you're actually insulting their parenting, aren't you? Right? I wouldn't do that. I think it's kind of mean. But yeah, that's their business. None of my business how they parent. And they both said when they were growing up, they were going to try and parent the way I did, but they'll have their own style. Why? They don't need to be exactly like me. That's ridiculous. I don't think it's my way or the highway. They'll have their own stuff going on. They might do a better job than I did, or couldn't pull that off, did I? I thought I was great. I really did. Very sure of myself. I'm really bad at a lot of things, but parenting came very easy to me. I had so much experience with kids. I started volunteering in daycare centers when I was 11 years old. And the daycare ladies used to ask me, how do you do that? They listen to everything you say and they all want to be with you. I didn't know how to answer that. I was good at leadership. I was good at being fun, and still, I guided them to make good choices. They respected me. I want to make it very clear. I'm really bad at a whole bunch of things. It's just parenting came easy to me. 2.5-year-old how to teach sharing. Can't be done. They don't really understand. They can learn not to take things off other people. You can teach them that, but to actually teach sharing, no. They don't really understand empathy. It takes empathy to learn how to really share. And that is 3 3/4. 3 years and 9 months old is when they can start to understand empathy. You don't want to know why. And when I get some of my clients are child psychologists, and they want to know why. Like they'll question me on those things, and then I'm quite happy to answer. You don't need to know why. It's 3 years and 9 months before they truly understand sharing. Other than that, you can just teach them not to grab stuff off other people. You say no, and then you hand it back to the other person, and keep doing it. Toddlers on going into daycare. Do you think it's necessary? I can't answer that. That's like asking me about homeschooling or anything. That's a personal choice. I don't have an opinion on that. Okay. Can I undo the pattern behavior yelling toward my 3-year-old? Can this affect her trust towards me later, even if fixed? I don't think it's going to affect them later on. I would say about 99% of my clients yell when they hire me. Because I always say this, we start on the behavior board. The first 30 minutes of the first session is the behavior board. The next 30 minutes of the first session is teaching them how to do it, how to make it work. That's the hard part. Doing a behavior board's easy. I mean, how to make it work is the hard part. I learn a lot about the parents when we're doing the behavior board. It's very rare because I always say, do you yell? And I'm waiting to write down no yelling as their rule. Every so often, it's very rare. Every so often, a parent will say, "No, I don't yell," and it throws me off. Like, oh, it's that rare. It throws me off. Oh, okay. Let's come up with something else then. It's that rare. Most parents yell, and then I teach them how not to yell, what to do instead. They only yell because it works in the moment. It's a quick fix, but it backfires down the road, and they know that. They don't want to yell. It works in the moment. Once you, like, I never yell. When you know what else to do, you don't yell because it will backfire. Yellers raise yellers. It builds resentment. How to not raise a people pleaser. No one's ever asked me that, or not in years. They haven't asked me that, or the last year anyway. I don't know how to answer that. The reason is I could go in so many different directions with this. And it's all my psychological mumbo jumbo. And I tend to go on about that. So, like, I have a real opinion on that, but it's just a big explanation. I might do a video on it. I'll try and make it short. How to not raise a people pleaser. I don't want to go on about that here because I can feel myself. I would go on too much. Sorry, I'm getting over this cold. Parenting now isn't the same as it was 30 years ago. Yeah, we went from the old-fashioned authority style into the pleaser style. 30 years ago, it started happening. The participation awards were invented. And I thought, what moron invented that? It was the stupidest thing I ever heard of. You just turn up and you get an award. Even I heard this. Parents were actually arguing that they wanted their child to have an award even though he didn't turn up. So you get an award for not participating. Everyone gets an award. That's the stupidest thing I ever heard of. You didn't give me an award. I'm just a bus driver, lady. All you did was get on the bus. Like, they just want to be awarded for everything. It's just this self-entitled, spoiled, it's rotten. It's awful. Parenting tips for disrespectful teen. Well, you give respect to get it. Okay, so if you're giving respect, you generally get it back. Here's how you respect a teenager. My 3 top parenting tips for teens. You listen to understanding and show empathy. You do not listen to gather information to lecture with, okay? If you give it, and you don't hand out advice, if they want your advice, they're going to ask for it. They already know it anyway. So the better you get at just listening to show understanding and empathy, they're going to start telling you everything. It's the first step in getting respect, okay? And that's how you give respect, is you listen to understand, show it, and they'll tell you everything when you get good at that. If they tell you something and then you hand out advice, they're not going to talk to you. It's just the way it works. And then number 2 is you negotiate pretty much everything. I want your dirty clothes in the hamper from now on. What do you want from me? So you negotiate pretty much everything. And then the third one is don't sweat the small stuff. They're allowed to make mistakes. Save your energy for the big stuff, okay? You're allowed to make mistakes. They're allowed to make mistakes. We all are, so long as you're learning from them. So if they mess up, say, well, that was stupid. Wait till you hear what I did when I was your age. Like, haha, we all do stupid things. So that's my top 3 tips for parenting teenagers. You got to earn that respect. You got to give it, though, to get it. Give, and it's more give than take with teenagers. By the way, with teenagers, it's something like this. And my clients, I specialize in teenagers. They're my favorite age. That's how I started my business 17 years ago, was troubled teens, working with them, and teens in crisis and that. So here's how it goes with teenagers. You got to give respect to get it. And this is how it goes. Give, 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 give. Give, 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 give. Get. Give, 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 give. It is like 99% giving initially, especially. 99%. And then get. And parents often say it's not fair. And I go, welcome to parenting. Welcome to parenting. Like, it's not about fairness. It's about a leader. Leader knows how to do this. A leader, you got to give before you get. Yeah, I don't invite people in my lives. I'll tell you why. Because about a year ago, I first started doing daily lives, about a year and a half ago now, on TikTok. And someone came, they invited themselves in. They said, can I come in? So I let them in. And this person just started their elevator speech for their business. I couldn't believe how stupid I was. They wanted my, I've got like 500,000 followers on TikTok. They wanted my audience. And how dumb was I? So now I would have to vet people before. And then, I'm just here to answer parenting questions. But My goal is one day, I've always wanted to do this. I just haven't figured out how to do it yet. And I will. I'm so busy right now. But I want to be doing live coaching sessions. And it would be free for the other person, obviously. But it would be like a podcast where parents come on and I literally coach them live. I would love to do that. Do you know why? I want you to see what goes on in coaching. Coaching is where all the magic happens. That I get to know the client. I love coach. It's my favorite thing to do in my business. This is second favorite because I love answering parenting questions and helping parents. But this one, I don't get to know you as well. But in coaching, that's my favorite thing. I would love to do that live and do maybe a podcast one day. Anyway, I would love to do that. So that's where I'll be bringing people in. But obviously, I'll be finding out ahead. I'll be vetting them before, and then they'll be invited in. But that's, yeah, that person just used my audience. They wanted my audience. I do not give my audience to anybody. You know how hard I work for that audience? I'm not going to hand that to someone else just for their business spiel. There's no amount of money would give them that. There wasn't even any money. Oh, it was so stupid. I was so mad at myself. But I was new. I didn't know what I was doing. Okay. So parenting questions. Okay, I've got about 5 more minutes to go. I've split my lives in half now because I'm getting bigger on Instagram, but my lives were always just on TikTok. Now I'm doing lives on Instagram. What I decided to do as of yesterday, I'm splitting them in 2. So rather than one day I'm doing TikTok, the next day I'm doing Instagram, an hour each. Now I'm just doing a half hour on TikTok like I just did earlier. And then I switch over to Instagram. And some of you have come over from TikTok, I've noticed. And then YouTube, the whole hour is on YouTube. That's where I save all of my lives. I tried watching one of them back. It's agony watching yourself. Agony. I get the most annoying, whiny voice. I hate myself. Like my voice, ugh, awful. I think everyone says that about themselves. I might have cut out if you answered, but how do you handle a whining tone in a 2-year-old? You don't. You just ignore that. But you know, sometimes you have to teach them what to do rather than just teaching them what not to do. So if they go, I want that, you say, may I please have that? And then they will eventually learn. You only do that if it's something you want them to have, though. You know what I'm saying? If you don't want them to have it, I would just ignore it. But overall, you don't address attitude. Attitude is something that happens organically. When you're a leader, they tend to respect you and the attitude just changes. So, but like I put in my course, in my boot camp course, I put down, you never put down attitude in there. Like you don't put down, stop rolling your eyes at me or stop being snotty. You never put that. It's too broad. It's too general. It's too big of an ask. And their bad attitude is a direct result of your parenting. You just haven't earned the good attitude. You've earned the bad one. So work on your leadership skills and the attitude just disappears. The bad stuff disappears. It's all about you. Not everything. Their behavior is 100% a direct result of your parenting up to about the age of 13. Then the outside influences can change it a little bit, but it's still pretty good. But they can have more influence as they become teenagers and become more independent, less under your leadership, which is what you want. You don't want them to be, like always looking to you for everything when they're teenagers. But yeah, children's behavior, their basic nature, their basic personality, they're born with, but their behavior from the age up to about 3 to 12. Under 3, they're just nuts anyway. Toddlers are crazy. They're just going to do stuff. But their attitude from 3 to 12 years old is a direct result of your parenting. That's when your leadership is at its peak, 3 to 12 years old. That's why my boot camp course goes from 3 to 12. Kids are very different, but your style is the same. Your parenting leadership is as strong with a 3-year-old as it is with a 12-year-old. I'm holding my ground currently with my 3-year-old, holding my ground. Cute way of putting it. How do you raise a teenager suffering from depression? I put that in the crisis department. I kind of specialize in that stuff. You have to work with me. I cannot give general advice on depression. I'd have to work with you. And there are no guarantees with any of this, but I teach you how to navigate through that with them. There's no guarantees with that, though. It's a tricky one. So, yeah, I don't discuss that on here. That's in the crisis department. I only deal with that in coaching. So if you want to hire me, go on the link above in the coaching section. Anyway, I got to get going. I do half my lives now. I start on TikTok and then I end on Instagram, 30 minutes each, and the whole hour is on YouTube. So I'm going to get going. I'll be back again. Will I be here tomorrow? No, I don't think so, because I'm doing my TikTok live tomorrow night. So I wonder if I should split those up also. What do you think? Oh, I just thought of that because I do my schedule. I only have 2 scheduled lives. One is on TikTok Tuesday nights, and one is on Instagram here Thursday nights. Maybe I should split those in 2 also. So I didn't even think about that. Anyway, I might be back tomorrow, so we'll see you later, and we'll talk again soon. Take care. Bye now.